welcome back to Uncut, and welcome back to another amazing industry interview.
This is part 2 of our Monkey Man interview series. So if you missed the first one, make sure to go check it out. We interviewed Makarand Deshpande. But today we are interviewing the costume designers for the film Divvya and Nidhhi, which are actually twin sisters who work together as costume designers on Monkey Man.
Divya and Nidhi are great costume designers, and they have branched out of Bollywood many a times, but they've been recognized by the Filmfare Awards, which I guess in American terms will be kind of the Bollywood Oscars.
We had so much fun getting to know them and their craft, and we hope you all enjoy.
With that being said, here is their interview.
I'm Divya. I'm one of the designer on the film. That's my partner, Nidhi. And we are partners, but we also twin sisters. Yes. I don't know if you can make that out in a Zoom call, but yeah, we're identical twins. And yeah, we work as a team together, on all our projects.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
That's really exciting. We do kind of something similar.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not siblings, but
We do work together.
we work together constantly as well.
And not identical for sure.
So our next question is just we just want to know kind of how you got into wanting to make and design costumes in general. What sparked that interest? Was there anything in particular? Did you go to school for it? Or did you just jump right into designing?
So yes, we did go to a fashion school in India here, like one of the leading ones, the top notch. And after we finished that, we launched our own label. We had our own fashion line. And we did that for a few years. We worked under our own label. And then somehow I think we just knew we wanted to do films, and we just jumped right into that. And it's just been the journeys. And honestly, I think, it was destiny. So we were not hunting for it. And it just came looking for us. I'll be very honest. We never really had to go out and ask for it. It just came, and and next thing we knew that we had our first film. Like it was like that. So so we were chosen to do that. I would say that.
That is absolutely amazing.
That's really cool. And with I know you've done a lot of work within like Bollywood, and now you've done a Hollywood film. What are the differences working on those sets and working with those directors? Does anything in particular come to mind?
Too many differences. Bollywood people are made to work much harder.
I know.
And in Hollywood, you get like, and I'm just on a serious note. I think it's the amount of passion, the amount of art that goes in making any film is the same, irrespective of, whether it's Hollywood or Bollywood. But yeah, I think it's the difference of the experience that, when you're working on an international film and there are people from the different parts of the world coming in together. So the learning is different than what you learn on a Bollywood film, because here we've been just dealing with the same kind of people, so the experiences are similar. But on an international film, on a Hollywood film, they're new experiences. And we have done other feature films which are like collaborations with different countries. Like we have done a German production, we worked on a Swiss production, French production, like UK production. UK production. So we've done like a lot of those international films, and some of those have gone through like to a lot of film festivals across the globe. In fact, our first film was like the best Asian film at Toronto Film Festival. So so when people are coming from different parts of the world, so it just kind of it's another level of enriching experience that you are gaining. So yeah.
Awesome.
I can definitely understand some of that feeling because I come from Colombia, and as I would imagine it happens in Indian productions, just like everyone is like from Colombia, and you have your little bubble of like your actors and your crew and stuff like that. And then here is like, people from all over the world working together. It's kind of insane.
Absolutely. Like on Monkey Man itself, we had like producers, in fact, from different countries, and then technicians, of course. We were I think we were the only Indian technicians as such on board. And yeah, there were people from Australia, Indonesia, Thailand. UK, Thailand, US, so they're all, I think the entire group came together to make a film like that. Like they've literally handpicked people. I remember he called us and he said, I've seen this film of yours, which was an Indian film, right? And like a Bollywood film. and sitting in LA, he said, I'm coming to Bombay. I want to meet you guys, and I am working on this film. I want you to be on board with me. I'm like, okay, sounds interesting. Let's see how it goes. And yeah, that's how it started. Like, sitting in anywhere nowadays, the content is so easily available. You can see it from anywhere. You can, you know how to find the talent. It doesn't matter where you're sitting actually anymore. It doesn't matter.
I love that. That's very encouraging, I feel like, to a lot of
For
people,
sure.
definitely. Kind of just getting more into Monkey Man, I first just want to ask about what the research process was like. If there's anything in particular you really wanted to highlight about the characters that you needed to design costumes for, kind of what that whole pre-production process was like for you both.
So I think Monkey Man was like a wholesome film, I would call it, because it had everything. It had different strata of people. It had so there was a bunch of, part where he really wanted, absolutely rooted and realistic approach to those characters. And there was this ones which are a little over the top and, so exorbitantly rich and like a different vibe, like a different strata of people. So I think there was everything, but what they've said that let's connect to the emotions of the character.
Mm.
And that's where the research started. So for us to understand the character of Kid, the character that Dev Patel is playing, it was really important to understand the backstory of where that character is coming from his childhood trauma, like why is he like that. And especially I think one of the most interesting looks, I would say, for us was when he was taken in by the transgender gang, I would call them, the transgenders, and he was just kind of building up again, recovering. So that transition time was where it was really important that what kind of silhouette would he have? Would he have like a masculine silhouette, or would he have like a softer versions of it coming through? So it's just like it's more like what was his mental state of the character at that point of time decided, what kind of clothes the character would wear. So that was the kind of homework I think where we started from. Yeah, so that's designing is more like understanding where your characters are coming from, where what is they're feeling, right? Yeah. So emotions plays very important role. So be Monkey Man, any film, there has to be a backstory to your character, right? What is the emotional state of that person at that point? That's the process I think we followed here as well, right? So when you see Kid going from, how Nidhi mentioned that the recovery phase, and then he gets into the club, and then so we have seen from and how Nidhi also mentioned that this was a wholesome film. Like you had a period drama coming to it, you had action, you had glamour, you had emotions coming in, you have music, which is very important, background score. And the background score is also talking to you about the emotions, and the costume, what the character is wearing makes a very important, like plays a very important part at that time, because it needs to connect. Everything has to have a connection there. So as creatives, person that we are, the creatives that we are, it gives us the whole palette. We had everything in one film. And if we refer to the climax fight in the club, they when we came up with this whole, we jammed together and we came up with this idea of how to give tribute to the Indian culture and Indian artistry, and you would see the transgenders, they're wearing these big on lehengas, and everything is actually hand embroidered. It took us like more than I think 2 months, and I remember it was COVID time, so tough days. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, it was a very tough prep. Yeah, tough prep. Yes. So, but yeah, so everything was hand embroidered, and he said, I want to really get into the history of India and show that culture and those colors and that vibrancy that that comes from this region of the world. So so it just like we jammed that what kind of what kind of costume would hijras come and come into and fight. And he said they should come in as if uh how do I say, they should just come in as in like they are a force, force. So and a force which has a lot of meaning and a depth to it. So he said, let's get into the Indian, Indian embroideries and just let's get into the tapestry of the high, that culture that we come from. So I said, yeah, that sounded really interesting, and yeah, and that's what you see on screen then.
Those costumes, I think, were my favorite out of the
They're
whole
amazing,
movie.
and it was a really impactful moment.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And I believe it's Inspire is trying to portray Kali.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. You got it right. Yes, you got it right. And not too many people have got those nuances right, but yes. Yes.
It was really
I
good.
don't know if you had a lot of input, because I think I might remember seeing that there was a specific person for the design of the mask, but did you have a hand in the mask design?
Yes, the mask, the made they so there were different fights, but of course the the monkey mask is the main mask, right? So
Mhm.
there were many versions of those that we had, right?
Okay.
And I think it was a process where Dave, us, the prosthetic and the mask guy, everybody was involved at some point or other, and everybody has their input. I would not say that, I would not like to take that credit
Mhm.
100% because it was a team which was collective. It was a collective effort, right? And there were many changes and many edits that had happened from where we started and what you see on screen. So
Mhm.
yeah. Till the last minute, I remember we were on set, and and they were like, there's something, I think we need to fix, like before the first shot of that mask that was going on. And because how the name suggests that the character, the strength of the character and the name is coming from Lord Hanuman, and he's considered to be one of the most powerful gods, like we all believe in. So, and if you happen to Google, and there's a specific face features that Lord Hanuman has, which he was missing a little bit. And I think just before the take, before the first take, we hand stitched those, and we made it on the face on that mask. It was a leather rubber mask. So yeah, I mean, it just happened till the last minute, So, yeah.
Wow.
I absolutely love that. And I will say, I was a little sad on the last like climax of the movie when such a cool mask and the kid decides to take it off.
I know.
Because I think he got what he was looking for,
For sure.
now. Yeah, so he got his revenge, right? That's what he wanted. Yeah, and I think the mask was, I would say, the strength that he was holding and the inspiration that had got it from Lord Hanuman. So yeah, so I think he got what he really was looking for. So yes.
That's great. So, as you know more than I do, costume departments are not exactly small. So I'm curious kind of what it's like to work with so many people who will be making the costumes, whether before filming or on set, what it's like to kind of be in charge and show them the designs and what that's been like for you guys.
It's like leading an army. Who's literally clueless what they're fighting for in the beginning, but they get a hang of it as they go along. Yeah. So yeah, so because we start from the very beginning of we reading the script, jamming with the directors, making the mood boards, putting all the looks together and everything. So by the time the team comes in, it's it becomes our duty kind of to get them engaged and get them to the same level of where we have reached with creatively with the director of any film. So yeah, so when that happens, and then there are whole different teams. So there's a team which would be working in pre-production, who would not really go on set. Then there's an on-set team, that'll be handling just the on-set activities. So yeah, it's like you're dealing with some 100 people to dress up some 1,000 people. So yeah. So I believe that, when you are doing a prep for any film, right? There's so many layers. It's just not maybe as a viewer, you just see few costumes and do miss so many, right? Because you're not looking for a costume, but we do costumes. So I see everybody, like I see every person in the frame, right? So there's so many people that we talk about, and those are important for the scene, which as a viewer they're not important to you because you're looking at kid or you're looking at my main characters, right? But the other people are also making this frame, right? Everybody's important in the frame. That's why they're there. So there is a backstory, there is a process for everybody that, why they're wearing, which color that they're wearing, what is, or what is the production design of that scene? What is going to be the backdrop? What is your location colors like? What is going to be the lighting and what time of the day it is, how the sun is going to be, how your color will like reflect, will it wash out? So there was so many things one needs to think before we say, okay, let's do this. So I think that's the costume as a department. I feel that I would call us artists, right? Just we are not actors, but we are artists, right? Like
Sure.
yeah. So we as an artist, we give life to the character, what's written in the script, right? Like we telling you how this person needs to look, right? I'm giving a life to a character without really saying anything. You could actually look at the person and you could know a lot about the character without dialogue being spoken. So the state of the costume tells you where this person is coming from, what, and the colors would say, whether what kind of a zone it is, and yeah, so like how she said, there's so many things, and you have to kind of, go as a team and coordinate with everybody, and whether it's a production design, whether it's a camera department, or like there's just so it's a, like a lot of people coming in together deciding on one scene. So it's yeah, so it's like it is leading an army. It is quite a process is similar, I would say. Yeah. And we have we fortunately we've done like films where they're like including Monkey Man that there's so many people to dress up at the same time. So you have to, as a creative, your mind needs to run really fast, right? Like you gotta really know your color palette, you need to know your thing, you need to know the mood of the scene, and you gotta take quick calls. So you need to be that person that who will take a call and not like there's no time to think about it. So you gotta be a quick thinker, and there's always end minute changes, always. We've been here for so long, over a decade and a half now, and there's never been a thing that there's not end minute
Because it's a
change.
creative process, and every director is also trying to, and there's always scope for to improvise. I think even after the film is made, people are like, oh, we should have done this, it would have turned out better. So it's like that. So it's a creative process, and everybody's trying to improvise. So the directors are also till the end minute, they are improvising their scene, whether it's clothes, whether it's how they want to frame it, what kind of lens they want to put, everything. So it's like till end minute you are literally, working on it and reworking on it until it's shot.
And I think it's so interesting the way you were mentioning earlier how, I mean, the Monkey Man specifically has moments and scenes in which there is a lot of extras on the camera. And you don't really think about the fact that you do have to dress these people, because if you don't, they're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. And even though they're not important for the scene, if you didn't think about them, then you will notice them. So it's like you have to dress them up so they don't stick out more than like the main characters.
100%.
So sometimes, or actually I would say mostly, costume is a kind of a thing which should not shout out. Like it should be there, but it's not like you're only looking at that. You should be looking at story.
Yeah, the minute the costume is you're only talking about costume, you're only looking, that means the job is not done right. You need to be involved in the film, right? And not just looking at the costume, right? There are films, there are series, and where it's required like that. But I think Monkey Man was not one of that film.
So it was more like it needed to connect emotionally with the audience than anything else. So, sometimes you have to settle down. So I think it needed that subtleness in the film.
Definitely.
One part I really liked is when Kid, he was really angry, still being like a server, serving the people, and then he gets so in his head and so angry that just starts taking all of his items off and goes outside to feed the dog. That's was really powerful.
Yeah.
From such a simple, like, design of the costume, and it was so impactful the way he was just going about it.
Yeah, that was really well done. And kind of talking about collaboration, I know this film has so much action, violence, many times where you would need like a stunt double. So I'm curious like what the collaboration was like within like combining with like the makeup department, combining with stunts. How did you kind of address the fact that a lot of people in the movie are going to be killed? So how did you as the costume designer like address that?
Yeah, so I think we've done a lot of war films, like
Mhm.
you know, so and we love shooting action.
Yeah,
So
love
yeah,
shooting
so
action.
when we are reading a scene, and you know, if I'm discussing, I exactly know that who's gonna get hurt, how much,
Mhm.
and how many of those costumes are required or double that required. You know, with experience, you get to know that.
Mhm.
So yeah. So when and in Monkey Man also, like I said, you know, those were COVID times when we were shooting and people were from all over. So a lot of coordination happened while we all reached at one location. So yeah, so we had to, like, everybody had to already put their mind and experience to use before really, you know, coming together. So I think a
We
lot
were actually
yeah.
shooting the film in a bubble. So it's
Yeah.
not like, you know, that we can just come up with the new requirements every day, which still happened,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? And we pulled it off.
Yeah.
So, but like we had to do a lot of pre-thinking, right?
Yeah.
Which on any other, you know, any other times, like now, if what we are shooting, right? If there is a requirement, I know I can fulfill, right? You know, because everything is all right, you know.
And if my action director wants to change the action and, you know, do something else, and like, okay, you know, you know, let's do it differently, and, you know, maybe use different costumes, or, you know, have, or, you know, use more blood for that matter.
Mhm.
So, but in Monkey Man, because of the, you know, again, the COVID times, we were in India prepping, and there were other teams prepping in their respective countries. And when we all came together, that's where, you know, everybody said that this is what we have come up with, and that's what we have to make do with, you know?
Yeah.
So I think everybody was experienced enough
Mhm.
to kind of, you know, get the right things in line.
Yeah,
That's
like
all. Yeah.
I think we had enough backups to not
Yeah.
have to compromise on things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We had more than enough backups for everything. Yeah.
What is one experience within the set of Monkey Man that is really memorable to you both?
Um, so many actually. I think there's the fact that that the experience with Dave, I would say, uh, he's so young and talented,
Yes,
and
very
I
talented.
love him. And you know how he's so full of life, and he loved us back, and how, you know, he just gave space to kind of, you know,
Do what we wanted to
do
do.
what, yeah, you know, like he literally, like, kind of really trusted us with what we bring on board is in line with what he, you know, in sync with what he's thinking of, which is actually very, we appreciate that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And because for any director to be, you know, working on in those times, and
Like literally on Zoom calls. Everything
yeah,
happened.
everything on Zoom call. Yeah, like we literally told him, can you make it yourself? We have to make your clothes in India. Because can you make yourself like that? Can you make yourself like that? You know, all of that happened. So, I think the whole positivity and the optimism that he came up with, we really appreciate, and the kind of trust that he showed us is, I think that's what will stay most with us, because for a first time director to have that kind of confidence in their creatives who are sitting middle, I don't know how many miles away.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I think that's something that's very cool. And of course, the overall experience was
you
really
know the
fun.
how he was so clear in
Yes.
like what he wanted to shoot, what he wanted, you know, as a
The clarity.
director.
Yeah.
Like he was just not the director. He had written the scene, so he knew what he wanted, and he was also acting, you know. So there were so many things as a person that he was doing that, you know, at the process, how he was shooting in itself was amazing, you know.
Yeah.
It was
I think a lot of learning happened on that, honestly, I would say.
yeah.
Yeah. So
But
yes.
like as we say to all our directors that, you know, we always learning, like we've been
Yeah.
fortunate that we work with really good people, right, all over the globe. And in fact in Bollywood also we've been very fortunate to work with one of the like the bestest of the best. So so same thing on Monkey Man, right? There were so many things happening and you're learning something new. It's not like, you know, we've been here for what, 15 years now, right? But still there was something new that you learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's what is exciting, you know, that's what keeps you going. Otherwise it's monotonous, it's
And I think
boring.
a personal experience with him, our equation with him is I think what would always stay with me, or with us rather,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like I remember one day he told Nidhi, right? She was on set, Nidhi, what do you want? You're the boss. Do whatever you want. So, so that's the kind of trust that he showed, that you do whatever you want, right? I'm doing my job. You are the HOD. You figure out. You do it. Your team. Like that. So
Yeah.
I think that was amazing.
And every time we would dress up people, and the first time he's seeing, he's like, I remember because we were, we were staying in a resort, so everybody like, by the sea, so it was like nice, and like every day was like a party. But I remember the first time Shalto had arrived, and Shalto is the actor who's in the wrestling ring, is the so he had arrived from US, and I dressed him up, and he's like, Nidhi, can you come to my room? And I'm like, okay, what happened? All good? It's like, I just want to hug you, what you've done with him, It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so excited. I'm like, okay, all right. Maybe so, so those experiences is something which
Because honestly, the work was happening in the isolation, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing if it was right. He didn't know what we were getting to him, right? So it was literally everybody was working in isolation. So when a director feels excited about your work, I think that's what you want.
Yeah.
Your job is done right.
Yeah.
You did a great job. So
Yeah.
This definitely sounds like a really healthy environment to work
Yeah.
in.
Oh,
it was
absolutely.
so much fun.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was like, that's what I'm telling you, 5 days work, 2-day party.
We actually had the opportunity to interview Makarand, the one that played Baba Shakti,
Mhm.
and he was also just singing the praises
Yeah.
with the crew and cast, and it just sounds like a great experience. Not only a great movie, but a great crew and a great amount of people working.
Lot of positive atmosphere. Everybody was so, excited about being on this project. And, sometimes there are times when you like, oh my God, when is it going to get done?
Mhm.
We didn't want to leave.
Like,
Nobody wanted to leave.
Like, oh my God, why is it getting over? Like that.
So yeah, it was fun, real
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so for our final question here, a lot of our listeners are either wanting to get into the film industry or kind of beginning being a part of the industry. So I'm curious, what piece of advice would you give to someone that would like to pursue costume designing?
I think what we would say, that first you must, of course, study fashion or study films, or like study what you want to do, so that your foundation is right. So once your foundation is right and strong, there's always just way forward only. You're never coming back from there. And it just kind of it helps you to kind of just I mean to say grasps everyday experiences in a much better way.
I think more importantly, uh, like it's not for weak-hearted people.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying for costume, but yes, because we are costume designers, especially for costume, it's a lot demanding, right? It's there are no time limits. I'll be very honest. And it doesn't matter if you're working on a Bollywood or a Hollywood or any other international film, right? So it's for you gotta be passionate. If you're not passionate, you cannot do it. You gotta love it to do it.
Yeah.
It's not a corporate job that someone can push you that you have to do it. It has to come from within. You have to be really passionate about your job, and you need to, feel the high, like see your name on a big screen. That if that gives you a kick, then you can keep on going. Otherwise, it can be very hard to survive. Honestly,
Films are very deadline driven.
yeah.
So it's not like, oh, I'm not doing today, I'll work tomorrow. No, you're shooting tomorrow. You need to have everything
Yeah.
that you have, right? Like that.
So it's definitely
So-
not for weak-hearted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean to say, how she said, if you're passionate and if you have your foundation right, you
You will succeed.
Yeah, you'll
There's no one can hold you back. Yeah.
That's amazing. So there is one thing that we do, and so at the end of every episode, we go and clap with our hands, as we say, and cut. And during the interviews, we've been having our guests do the honors for us. So if you wouldn't mind just saying a goodbye and saying goodbye to our listeners. First of all, like where people can listen to you or what you're doing or follow you, what projects you have next, and then just going right ahead and saying and cut.
All right, sure. So, of course, you can follow us on our Instagram, which is Divya Nidhi, and Divya is with the DIVVYANIDHHI. So, yeah, I know it could be difficult for an international audience to pronounce that name, but yeah, I'm sorry, we can't change our handle name. It's gonna stay. Yeah, that's why I spelled it for you. And we have a website. Please go have a look. We have everything that we've done till today, and we are very proud of doing, different kind of cinema that we have done, all genres, mostly like comedy, horror, action, periods, and everything we have done. So yeah, please see our website, follow us on Instagram, and yeah, right. That's about it. And we are very thankful for you to call us for this podcast. I hope we can, maybe even inspire one person. That'll be nice because it's an industry that can give you a lot, right? We are very fortunate to be here, and yes, we are very grateful to the universe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uncut.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Uncut. You can follow us on all social media, starting with Instagram as Uncut the podcast. You can also follow us on YouTube as That Film Couple, which is the same handle for TikTok, That Film Couple for short form content. You can also follow us on Twitch as Sebasparra1K. And if you're watching right now on YouTube, you can find us on any podcast platform as Uncut exclamation mark. Last but not least, you can follow me on Instagram as sebi.mp4.
And you can follow me at caitlin.mp4.
Thank you so much for being here one more week, and we'll see you in the next one.